Good morning. I am Mrs. B from the Whitfield Museums. Today we are at the Rock House and we're going to talk about millinery, which simply means hat making. Hats have been around for a long time. The first hats they had were made out of leaves, and the leaves were simply to keep the sun out of their eyes when they worked out in the fields. Then in the wintertime, they would make fur hats to keep their heads warm during that time. Hats have evolved during the different period times. In England, there was a church that declared women could not show their hair when they went outside, so women had to wear hats. They would wear hats to cover their heads like this. Then, during the Victorian time, hats became very popular also. The women would go to a hat maker, as you can see on the display, and the hat maker would make their hats. They would have all kinds of different ribbons and flowers and lace and feathers, and they would put them on the hats. The women thought for some reason the bigger their hat was, the better it was. So they would go shopping, and if they saw someone with a bigger hat, they'd go back to their hat maker and say, I want a bigger hat. Women also at that time would have a hat pin in their hat like this. The hat pin would be to hold their hat on their head. They'd put their hat on like so, and then they would put it through their hat, so when it was windy, their hat would not blow away like so. The hat pins we have here were more like the ones they had, and as you can see, they're long and very sharp, so they could use those hat pins for protection also. They would take their hat pin out if someone was bothering them, and they would just stick them, and that person would leave them alone. Looking at some of the hats on the display, you can see all different types of hats. The men, they wore hats too. They would have a straw hat, or they would have a Boda hat, and the Boda hat was simply to keep the sun out of their eyes. Men also would wear top hats. The top hats looked like this, and when they went out to church on Sunday morning, they would lay their top hats on a row, and when they got ready to leave church, they would take their hat with them. They could not wear their hat inside the church. We have on display some other hats too, different types that they had and they wore and they modeled. This one has an interesting shape, has all kinds of decorations here. And of course it has the ribbon, and the women would make the hats to go with their outfits. This one has lots of feathers on it. After the king declared that the rule of wearing hats, he declared that was not law anymore, so the women would go with smaller hats at that time. Sometimes they would have ribbons to tie them on like this. All different types of hats was worn. Even children, little girls, would wear a hat. This one looks like maybe an Easter bonnet. Now we're back at our education office, and we're going to show you how to make some of those pretty hats. The first hat we're going to make is for girls too, and this simply you need a paper plate like this. Get mom and dad to help you cut the circle out, and then you need a bowl, and you're going to put that bowl down inside the plate, and then you're going to staple it in place so it'll stay, and you'll have the beginning of your hat. Okay? I already have one made, so I'm going to use that one to save time. This is what it's going to look like. You'll need a piece of elastic, or you can even use a piece of string to hold it on with. You're going to take cupcake liners or green leaves, and you're simply going to glue them all the way around the hat, like so. Put lots of glue on it, and I'll put my leaf down, And these leaves can be made out of any kind of paper you have at home. The cupcake liners, you can use that. You just put glue on the bottom and then you stick it down like so. You can use the tissue paper flowers again. When you have the tissue paper, all you have to do is take several sheets of tissue paper and you fold it like an accordion back and forth, like so. And then you pinch it in the middle, take it, twist this, and then you pull those little sheets out and you will have a beautiful flower like so. And you can glue that on your hat. You can take a brown paper bag and cut strips like so. And you can put these strips on top for a bird's nest. You just put some glue there and you pull them apart and arrange it so they look like a bird's nest. Because of course this is springtime. And your hat will look like this when you finish. Put the cupcake liners all around and the leaves all around. Here I have one that's got the bird nest with some baby eggs in it. Now we're not leaving the boys out. Boys, you need the same bowl. You need some yellow paint, or you can make a brown hat if you want to. Put the yellow paint in a plate, then take a sponge and you very neatly just cover the hat up just like this all over. And you will have a straw hat that looks like this. Also, back in the old days, they wore fascinators, and even the princesses now wear fascinators. And this is a fascinator. It was just a piece of scrapbook paper, and we folded it, and we made a pretty fascinator out of it, like so. Now we're going to make an Easter bonnet. You take newspaper or newsprint. You can even use wrapping paper. Take it and mold it over your model's head like this and shape it in the form of their head. Make sure they can still breathe under there. Got 3 sheets and I'm going to mold it to her head like so. Then I'm going to take tape and wrap it around there so it'll stay in the shape of her head. Just masking tape, duct tape, whatever kind of tape you have at home will work. See how I'm molding her head? She's okay over there. Wrapping it around her head and got the shape of the bonnet. Okay, I think I have enough tape. Now I'm going to fold my edges up because we want it to look like a bonnet. Sort of just roll them up. And then you want to put a staple in there to hold it. Just staple it. Make sure you don't staple your model. Keep on rolling this side. I'm going to put another staple. And then I'm going to do the back. You have to make sure you staple it so it won't come unrolled. And I'm going to do the front. Like so. And we staple it again. You're going to cover those staples up, so it's okay to use lots of staples. This side, we're almost finished rolling. Okay, now we've got it all stapled, and this is what the Easter bonnet looks like. Now we're going to decorate. You can take tissue paper and make little flowers like this and just glue them on. You can take cupcake liners like this and glue them all over. You can take paper leaves, you've got some construction paper, and decorate it all like that. And you will have a beautiful Easter bonnet for Easter. These are some of the hats that we have made. This is an Easter bonnet. This is another Easter bonnet. This one has a bird's nest inside. See the little robin eggs. This is a bonnet we made out of newsprint. And this is a guy's top hat. We did not make one. This is a fascinator that we were going to make. And this is a boy's straw hat. Thank you for watching. Come back and watch us again.